more tenants. He's a specialist who's doing on your
It's
behalf.
the multiple location.
Yes.
So the risk is also diversified.
Yes.
If something happens to one city, I mean, that is not going to happen to the
Right.
other city.
Yeah.
So your investment is to that extent protected.
That's right. There's Mohit Chatterjee of Kolkata who had asked, what real estate fundamentals should I consider before investing? Does the consumer need to know the real estate fundamentals if I'm buying into REITs?
So the question is whether he's asking question from the underlying asset perspective of what I have bought the properties, or he's asking from a fund manager perspective whether the company who's managing is good. What exactly he's asking? If he's asking underlying
Let's assume both.
Okay.
Let's assume both, because he's just buying into a REITs, right? Does he need to know the real estate fundamentals, and also how good are the specialists in
Alright,
managing that?
so I think the same way when you evaluate a mutual fund, so let's compare it to the mutual fund. In mutual fund, what I look at, last 3 years past records, how well the fund has performed in comparison to the Nifty. So if my Nifty has returned 10%, if my fund manager has returned 14%, the alpha which he has generated, that's the reason I'm paying money him.
Sure.
Because I want him to generate alpha for me.
Yeah.
Right now, REITs is because it's a very new product. Right now, we don't have a consolidated benchmark to make a comparison with.
Should you benchmark it against the Nifty and check whether?
Nifty, no.
Okay.
It's a totally different asset.
So you don't have a benchmark to
No,
compare.
but one thing is very clear here. Here you are investing in real estate.
Yes.
But you are not investing in residential real estate.
Yeah.
You are investing
Yes.
in commercial real
Only,
estate.
yeah.
Sure.
So a constant income, a fixed income of rental income is likely to come. Now the average rental income in this country is around 8 to 10% of your property value.
That's
That
one
is
parameter.
That's
whatever
in
you are
commercial
investing.
real estate, office
Yeah.
properties.
So that kind of a return you can expect every month. Besides that, so long as that is very clear. So the rental income is fixed, and that is over the last 10, 15 years, so long I have seen the rental income is like that. Now whether prices are going to go up or prices are going to go down, that depends on the market cycle. Now the REITs, and that will affect your NAV only. That will not affect your monthly income. So monthly income remains almost constant, but your NAV, it will appreciate or depreciate, that will depend on the market. So
On the market cycle.
Market cycle. So investor, what he is looking for? If he is looking for appreciation in the unit value, then you should judge that in which direction market is moving. But if he is investing for a monthly income kind of a thing, then I don't think that he need to see even that. For 8% kind of a tax-free return, he can go to REITs very easily.
So your original question was how he can do that.
Yeah.
So the first thing is that like if he's my client, he's come to me and as an advisor. So first thing every person should look at is the holdings of the REITs, where the company has invested. Like just like in a mutual fund, you have top 10 holdings.
Yeah.
What are the top 10 holdings and what industry? They give you a pie chart. Like 30% is in IT, 40% in cement. Same in REITs also, like in MSC REITs, they have a holding, like which in property, which location they have invested.
Except that can an individual investor be so aware of what holdings, what properties he's holding?
At least he can make this much, he can make out, okay, whether that REITs, it has a concentration risk or not. Like for example, if 80% of money is coming from one property in one location, then REIT doesn't serving my purpose.
Yes.
It means it's like me only investing in one location.
It's not spreading the
It's not spreading the risk.
Yeah, but one thing is there that now suppose a company is making a REITs of this DLF Cyber City. Suppose.
Yeah.
Now, Cyber City is a huge investment.
Yes.
It's a very costly investment.
Yes.
As an investor, I simply cannot imagine, cannot think of investing in those properties.
Right.
But through REIT I can do.
Yeah.
But through REIT I can do. So, as an investor.
So things that you could never get in your portfolio
Yeah,
as an individual.
So now even if that is only one property, now certainly the risk is there of single location property.
Concentration risk.
That is concentration risk will be there. But still, if I think that no boss, I should have some pie in this property also, and I should have some return from this property, I can think of investing in that REIT.
Right.
No, but I mean, and I don't think that he is having that much risk as investing in any IT company. Why I am telling you, like today, whatever Trump says in the morning, that is going to affect your IT company's share.
Yeah.
And that is going to affect your ultimately, NAV of mutual fund which is investing in the IT company or the share of the IT company. Here in the case of REITs, you know it, that boss, this is occupied by the tenants and they are going to be here because India is a story. India is a large market and these companies are going to be here. So at least rental yield is going to come. Okay, so I am secured by that point. So investing in equity is altogether a different
It's a very different concept.
And then the investing in REITs, particularly the real estate REITs, and that too on the commercial property REITs, is totally a very, I believe so far. I mean, now it depends. Again, I'm telling you, it all depends on the fund manager who is
The
managing
quality of assets that they are managing.
Everything depends on a fund manager.
Fund manager, no, quality of assets in India, mostly what SEBI has prescribed, that where they can invest in the REIT, most of those are very high grade property.
A grade.
A grade property.
They have mentioned that in there.
So basically, so investment is secure.
Yeah.
That is not the issue. But if your fund manager is sure, you can't have it.
And remember last time Gursimran telling us that your rental income is secure.
Yes.
Because the fund manager makes sure that the property is well tenanted.
Well tenanted, yes.
The only fluctuation that you can have, like Prabhakar said, if Trump makes a statement and there is a change in sentiment, the NAV can go up, fluctuate
Yeah.
on the market,
So
stock
the
market.
supply increases sometimes like happened. Remember 2007 to 2011 in the Gurgaon market particularly, in Indian market particularly, there was an oversupply kind of a situation in commercial real estate. So the prices were not going up. Prices were in fact going down at that time. I remember it had come down from many of the properties from 8,000 rupees per square feet to 6,000 rupees per square feet. So in that kind of a situation, your NAV will come down. But your rental yield came down from around 11-12% to 9%.
To about 8 to 9%.
8 to 9%, but not below than that.
Can we show the link between the real estate, the REITs and the stock markets?
Yes.
There is a very interesting correlation between the two. Deepak, could we have that on the screen, please?
Come on.
He's put it on the screen,
Right.
and you can explain it to the
Okay.
consumers.
This,
Yeah, Gursimran, why don't you explain what this means to the consumer?
Okay, so this is a very interesting chart. So since Embassy Group REITs have been launched last 3 months only, so we only have a 3 month trend here.
Yeah.
But look at it how beautifully it is beating Nifty.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I told you in my last program also, the REITs is making a point where gold used to do that to in an asset.
Yeah.
REIT always reduce your risk of equity
Yeah.
because REITs never correlate with equity.
Yeah.
REITs is a totally a different concept than equity. So when the people who wants to have REITs, their one more reason of having is that they will, because it's not correlated to equity, your portfolio will be get protected if there is an equity crash or something like that.
So when the equity markets go down,
REITs will go up.
REITs will go up.
REITs will go. So it
But
totally
when the
explains-
equity markets are going up,
Pardon?
when the equity markets are going up, that's a
That's a very beautiful question you asked. If equity market goes up, REITs can also not go down because my rentals are coming.
right. So as a result, the equity markets are subject to various other issues of sentiment.
Yes.
The REITs market, you will see that it goes up or down according to sentiment,
Right.
but the regular returns of rental returns hold.
We need to we in a layman's terms we tell you there's a very in a layman's term I tell you REITs is a what I will say fluctuation reduction component in your portfolio.
Yeah.
The fluctuation reduction. So your portfolio fluctuates every day because of equity. What REITs will help you stabilize that.
Okay. What percentage of your portfolio should be REITs?
It depends on case to case basis. Like as I told you last time also, it depends on the person risk profile. So in an advisory, when a client comes to us, first we do the risk profiling. If he's a conservative person, then maybe it will be a little higher, REITs or bonds or gold. Aggressive investor, depending on that. But right now we are recommending not more than 10 to 15% because right now we have one REIT.
Yes. And therefore, the market is limited. As
Yes.
the market grows,
Yes.
the advisors.
I'll tell you one thing, Sandhya.
Yeah.
Like in India particularly, now a person normally in a lifetime buy one house
Hmm.
to live.
Hmm.
and then after he has financial assets something around 50 lakh to 1 crore rupees, not
Yes.
more than that. Average Indian has that.
Yes.
Now, many of them just buy another house thinking that, okay, I will have a rental income in my retirement time, and so I buy well one house.
Yeah.
And then after he keeps 20 lakh rupees or 30 lakh rupees in cash.
Yeah.
Okay. So the major investment even today, almost more than 50% of his total financial assets into real estate.
Yes.
Even today, you do it.
Yeah.
Now, in the case of REITs, now you can think of that, okay, you don't buy a second house, but invest that money in REITs. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, but here, the REIT has to show that they are that secured as your second house is.
Your real estate asset is a secure asset. It is.
It's
It's there.
It's there,
it's-
before your eye.
Yeah.
You can go and feel it.
And it doesn't dissipate. Now
Yeah.
the REITs have to, like Prabhakar said, the REITs should be able to help you understand that you have a secure asset and that it is well managed.
I'll answer that
And
question.
instead of buying second house, you can, but that culture will change. And if that culture changes, then the total financial assets in REITs, I believe that in Indian market can go even up to 40%, 50%.
Agreed.
Because many people do invest here in the real estate sector and world over. The real estate investment world over is the largest,
Is it bigger than?
bigger than the financial assets.
I-
And today we're going to ask you a question. We have a poll running. Where would you like to invest, in REITs or in commercial property? Do take this poll. At the end of our show, we'll tell you what the results are.
I'll add one more thing here.
Yes.
In stock market, like I've been investing in stock market for 24 years.
Yeah.
So I have seen one thing: trend is your friend in stock market. And for a person who doesn't know markets, the fluctuation is negative for them. But the person who knows the market, fluctuation is friend. Just if you look at the chart once again,
Yeah.
in last
Can we
3
have the
months,
chart once again, please?
in last 3 months, REITs have fluctuated a lot also. Like for example, a person, a smart investor who knows that properties, rentals are coming and all, he can toggle some prices and he can average his buy price. In financial concept, we say rupee cost averaging.
Yeah.
What is exactly said? Systematic investment.
Yeah.
That when the markets go high, you will get less units.
Yeah.
When the markets will go lower, you will get more units. So it's called rupee cost averaging concept.
Yeah.
In REITs also, if you do a monthly investment, your average unit price of investment will also go down. This way, maybe your rental, because the rental eats on the same price format, your capital gain chances will get increased because your entry point is lower
Yeah.
for a smart investor.
Yes, yes.
So this is also a very beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, there is Nikhil Nair of Chennai who says, I'm a salaried person, I have 50,000 now.
Mm.
Which REITs can I buy and should I buy into REITs?
So right now as I said, we only have one option.
Yes.
Right now.
Yeah.
And that too is like at the 52-week high.
Yeah.
It's like 52-week high is like we say that's the highest price in a year.
Yes.
So and it got listed around 300 rupees. Now it's at 362.
Yeah.
In fact, last week also it got increased.
Yes.
This since our last programming got increased by 5-6% in a week.
Yeah.
So it's right now it's very expensive
Yeah.
because if you look at the NAV is around 300 or something.
Yeah.
So it's going very high. So first of all, the gentleman, he doesn't have any choice. He only have embassy. But yes, if wants to go into REITs, but embassy is a very good product right now. But we need to wait for little cool down.
Yeah.
Prices should come a little lower.
Mhm.
Then he can take his entry into the REITs.
So, Vineet Sharma of Chandigarh asked, should you invest in mutual funds or REITs? Can I invest in embassy REITs now? Now, embassy REITs now, of course you can invest, but like Simran said, it's at the highest value right now. It's peaked and it's at 362, right?
363, 65 right now.
363 to 365, and therefore you will be getting fewer shares for the money that you
Because
put in.
it's at the highest point in a year.
Yes.
It's a very expensive right now. And you can't, and coming back to the second question, it's not mutual fund
Yes.
versus REITs. You have to invest in both.
Yeah. Any ratios?
See, again, right now, because we only have one REITs, I'm not recommending more than 10 to 15% of your portfolio.
Right. What
into
about mutual funds? How much?
mutual funds? Normally, the maths which we do is that I know it's a very cliche, but again, I'm not recommending you go with this format because I'm giving a very generalized statement.
Yeah.
Again, I say your portfolio, your finances should be customized according to your requirements. But normally we tell people that minus your age should be in I mean, if 40 is your age, 60% should be in equity, 40% bonds, and that 40% bonds component you can reduce further and invest some in REITs.
Yeah.
That's what we are recommending right now. But again, disclaimer, it's a very generalized statement I'm making. Plan.
Specifics, you should sit with your plan.
Yeah, you should sit with your financial advisor.
Tell me one thing, that in REITs, the income dividend is tax-free.
Dividends, yeah, dividends. Right.
That tax-free.
Yeah.
Now, what is the normal dividend these REITs? If the rental is 8%, okay, then what is the normal dividend they will give me?
Normal dividend, like it depends on your investment. Right.
Percentage, right? If I invested 1 crore rupees,
All right.
so then what kind of a dividend will they give me? Around 10 lakh rupees per annum, 8 lakh rupees per annum, 6 lakh. What is, if the rental is 8%, so 8 lakh rupees, I believe that they are going to earn from that 1 crore rupees.
Right, right.
So how much dividend I'll get?
Okay, so I'll give you a very simple example. For example, 1 crore was a total assets of REITs. Okay. As I told you earlier also, we have a concept called net distribution cash. What is a net distribution cash? After deducting the taxes, your cost of managing properties, the employees, I'll get that cash. Okay, that I will distribute. So coming back to your question, if 1 crore was my property, if my rental yield, for example, he's doing very good, it's 10%. He's getting 10 lakhs. So after deducting his, there where the fund manager efficiency comes. After deducting his management fee, housekeeping, whatever, 8 rupees.
Globally, what do they?
Globally, the ratio is around 15%, 10 to 15% they deduct.
So if the 10 rupees is the earnings, so 10% or 15% is 1 crore or 2.5 rupees.
Yeah.
So 8.5 that they will distribute.
Yeah, that's a normal norm.
And that will be tax free.
Yes, dividend, yes.
So that means that the pre-tax, that is equivalent to, for a 30% bracket person, is around 11% to 12%.
Right.
So that is better than any of the debt fund. That.
Yeah, you can say that because REITs.
Do you have any comparison of that?
Because no, I tell you one thing. Government is also encouraging that because I tell you what, interest income which we are getting right now, it's part of your tax structure like 30% and all that. What government has done, that dividend component.
No, debt fund.
Debt fund, I'm talking about debt fund only. That interest income is part of your tax structure because it will be considered as your income only.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Because
This is the last budget.
yeah, but government also wants to encourage REITs.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the reason what they have done is that first of all in equities we have a DDT,
Yeah.
dividend distribution tax. In REITs we don't have DDT. One is that
Yeah.
one benefit you're getting. Now the dividends which you're getting in your hand is tax free. It will not be part of your income. So that's what government is right now is working on. So interest
But if the pass-through is there,
Yeah.
so that means that my fund would have paid the tax on that.
pass-throughs is only in interest income which the REITs earn and the rental income which the trust themselves are invested in the property. Pass-throughs are only in those.
No, so that means the tax had to be paid, no? So
Yes,
they would
in-
have paid
yeah,
the
in that
tax.
they have to pay,
So
yeah.
they would have paid the tax.
Yes, yes. They say that's the reason. It all comes to the fund
So
manager
the
performance.
30% tax has already been paid on that.
Yes,
So then that is the post-tax, then the return would not be
I tell you.
10 rupees, then the return 30% tax has been paid.
There are two
so 7
things here.
rupees return
There
will-
are two things here. As I told you last time also, any income which you're getting from SPV, which is special purpose vehicle, okay, that is dividend considered as per the taxation by the government. Any income which you're getting from SPV is dividend, but any income which you're getting as an interest income, like the loan which you have given to the developer, or the trust themselves have invested in the property without the SPV, that will be considered as a pass-through. So these two components, interest income and the rental income, will be passed through and it will be part of your income. But if you're getting a dividend from REITs, that is the tax free in your hand. So there where the efficiency of a fund manager comes.
So the dividend is tax free. The
that's it.
the
The moment-
rental
that's
has
it.
been paid.
I got the point. Now, the moment the rental is paid, whether it is SPV is collecting it, whether the
Yeah.
REITs is collecting it directly, the tax has to be paid. If the pass-through is allowed, that okay, if I have paid the tax, the next guy will not pay the
Yeah.
tax.
Yes, yes.
If that is there, then if I had, if
Someone in the chain has paid the
yeah,
tax.
somebody
Yes.
has to pay the tax.
They have to. They have
So,
to.
so that means the 30% tax liability has to be borne by somebody.
Yes.
Or it has already been borne by somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in that case, basically, then when it comes to, but then it is a bit of inefficient kind of a system. Because if I am a retired person, I have no income at all. And now if I get the dividend as a form of taxable income, then only if my income goes beyond 10 lakh rupees, then only I'll pay, or 5 lakh rupees, I will pay the tax. If I will not, if that income is less than 5 lakh of rupees, then I will not pay tax.
Right.
Okay, so even by rental income, if the rental income is more than 5 lakh of rupees of total my income,
Yeah.
then only I'll pay the tax.
Yes.
If the rental income, including my entire income, is less than 5 lakh rupees, I don't have to pay the tax. Now, if the the rental dividend has to be paid tax earlier, that means that tax will not come back to me after dividend is paid, because that dividend is post-tax.
Yes.
Yeah, that is what is called net distributable cash. That's what I said.
Post-tax.
Yes.
So that means then it is not a very efficient taxation system
I
for
tell you one thing.
investor.
No, I tell you one thing. Let's compare it with a person who's owning a house and getting a rental income. Let's compare it with that person. So when I own the property, the rental income which I come from my property is taxable as
No,
income.
suppose my
Rental
income is 2 lakh of rupees. 1
Yeah,
lakh.
that barrier is there. Yeah.
So then means that I don't have to pay tax on that?
Yeah, that way you're right.
Tax free?
That way you're right. But in distribution also, in a dividend also, when you're getting a tax, see, understand, if a person is earning 10 lakh as a dividend, his portfolio should be around 3 to 4 crores to get that rental yield if I calculate 8%
Not 10
dividend.
lakh, not 10 lakh. If suppose somebody has invested only 10 lakh of rupees,
Hmm.
okay, he can invest up to 50,000 rupees?
But whatever but if you do a point to point comparison with the property you're owning, then again I have to pay my maintenance also. I have to hire people to maintain my property. I have to do that also. Here I'm getting a tax benefit because that will be considered as a expenses for the company. A company will save tax on
But
that.
that expenses will go from my income only.
No, but you will be saving taxes also, no? Because it's an expense for you. As a retiree, it's not you're not a company.
So the 50% abatement I get also on the rental income.
You get, but here you're comparing
So
the
that is
one property
our-
owner with the REITs.
So help me understand, Gursimran. Globally, what are the here we are saying A grade of office spaces is what REITs invest in. Globally, what are the categories of investment for?
See, globally, globally they are very. As I send you the details, globally it's very. They're very creative, for the lack of the better word.
Yeah.
Because, for example, they have a REITs for office building. Right now, we are only dealing with office building.
Yeah.
Globally, they have a specialized REITs for industrial properties, factories and all. They have a special REITs for malls. They have a special REITs for, in fact, hospitals, warehousing, infrastructure, IT companies, data centers. They have a specialized REITs for that also. Okay.
Student housing.
Student housing.
Yeah.
So globally, like in India, we have a mutual fund, small cap, large cap, mid cap, healthcare mutual fund, FMCG mutual fund, IT mutual funds. We have that. But just like there in US, you have for a specialized asset class.
You have
So
a different kind of REITs.
here the common theme here in all the REITs are the income generation properties here.
Yes.
There's a common theme here, the income generation. So whether it's my data centers who are giving rent to IT companies, self-storage, timberland also, like they have REITs for timberland, forest. So whatever the income they get from a wood work and also they're getting REITs for that. So international is a well diversified market.
And here, if we have to evolve to that, SEBI has to allow more and more
Yes.
investment in different asset classes.
Yes, see, understand our problem in India is that, sir will add to that, we are a very unstructured market.
Right.
India is a very unstructured market. We don't have a uniform way of evaluating the property. For example, even in one location also, even in one residence, a property A has a different valuation criteria than property B. We don't have a common theme running, and we don't have a centralized index
Yeah.
of evaluation of rentals or the evaluation of the property. Because that's the reason RERA is a good step from the government, but we need to have a centralized and a structured approach, then only all these REITs can come into the picture.
Which means that we need more data,
Yes.
third-party data resources,
Right.
which actually help you understand how the property values and rental
Right.
values are.
Right, we need to have a centralized team. So, for example, for me, if there was a question by the gentleman, in equity I can evaluate my fund manager in comparison with Nifty.
Yeah.
How I can do that in REITs?
Yeah.
We don't have an index running right now.
And these indices will come into being as REITs
Right.
also in India.
It's a lot of development.
Their NAV is calculated minute to minute.
Right.
As the stock prices goes up and down, so your mutual funds unit prices goes up and down.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is calculated
But
like
REITs
this.
prices
REIT
don't
you
go
NAV
at that
doesn't go like
frequency.
that.
Eh?
NAV doesn't go
Yeah.
like that.
NAV doesn't go
Prices
like
can
that.
go.
Right.
Prices can
Right.
go. and
Market
up.
price, yes.
But NAV can't go because NAV is dependent on the the valuation that the REIT managers gives you every quarterly or every half yearly.
Yeah.
That okay, this property I had bought for 15 crore, now it is worth 17 crore, or now it is worth 16 crore, whatever he.
As per the SEBI, as rightly said by sir, they have to disclose this to us.
Right. And that is on a half-yearly frequency.
Yes, half year. Twice a year they have to disclose in
Another
their.
problem is this, that there is no benchmark to say that this property is this much price. Can you say?
Yeah.
I mean, you are so experienced. Can you tell me today that what is the price of this property? I have no idea.
So we
You
don't have a
just say,
central
okay, last deal had happened at this price, so this property should have been this much price. That's all only you can calculate or you can judge like that. So that is the biggest problem.
Property pricing is a very
Yes.
understood field in
Exactly.
India. Hardly any scientific principles are there when you come to property pricing.
Right. It's because real estate at the end of the day is a very local business.
That's right.
It's a very local business.
So what do they do? There are now valuers in the market.
Right.
Okay, government appointed or
Yes,
government
yes.
qualified valuers.
Yes.
So they will go, they'll appoint 10 valuers and they'll say that, okay, you value this property, how much price it should be. So 10 valuers give them the 10 kind of a price, then they will average it out and then they say that, okay, this
Not
is.
an efficient. I mean,
Not a very
So
efficient
that
system.
valuers is as good as you are.
it's like average of average.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's Anshul Sharma of Noida who says, I would like to know how do REITs measure earnings?
Good question. See, just like a stock in stock market and a company disclose their result, even in this case also, if I recommend this gentleman to go through the embassy IPO draft offer, in which they have mentioned that how much they are spending, what is their EBITDA, what is their net income, how much net profit they have earned, what are the expenses, everything is mentioned in that report. It's just like any stock market stock which is disclosing their earnings. So you can find out from there. Then what is the return on investment the company is earning.
Let's take some more questions. We've got a lot of questions coming up. There's Mukesh Singh of Pune who says, I'm an investor and earlier used to buy and sell properties for investment purpose. How do investors gauge a REIT's ability to pay dividend?
Good question. So as rightly said by sir also, 1 year annually we need to first, right now as average commercial rental yields around say 8 to 9%. That's the average we are getting right now. If a fund manager, that's the only parameter right now with us, because we don't have a nifty benchmark.
Yeah.
So annual basis, if the person, if a REIT is not able to give me even say 8%, first of all, it's the fund manager is not doing the job.
Right.
Okay, fund manager is not doing the job. Now the other question can person will ask, okay fine, if I'm not getting a rental income, maybe for example last 3 months my capital gain is 20%.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need to understand first, investor need to understand whether he or she is getting the product for the income or for the capital gain.
Right.
Then accordingly the person has to map their investment strategy.
So now the next question leads into that. Arijit Mathur of Chandigarh says, what factors contribute to REIT earnings? If I invest for 5 years horizon, how much returns can I expect out of REITs? So this is how long should I hold my REITs investments?
See,
No, in the case of REITs, it's not necessary that you hold 10% or 20 years. Because of course for appreciation you should. But the moment REIT has come, so what is happening now, that rental income is going to go up every year or every second year.
Yes,
So
yes.
what will happen that as the rental income goes up say by 10%, so your capital value should also go up automatically by 10%, okay? Because there is a one-to-one kind of a relation there. That okay, rental income and capital value should be almost 100 times of the monthly rental or 120 times of the monthly rental depending on the market. But average is around 100 times. So now as the rental income goes up, so his income is going up and so his capital value should go up. Now if suppose supply increases, then rental income will go down, so his capital value will go down.
However, the fund manager would then be course correcting, right?
Yeah, obviously.
The fund manager would be exiting some stock, picking up
I
some
tell you
new
what's the
stock.
job of fund manager here. Let me explain that. What
That is not that easy in the capital in the real estate market, because real estate market is illiquid for them also. If they want to, because there are not many buyers.
Yeah.
Now even if they want to sell certain property in the market, they will not be able to sell it. Because Indian market, real estate market is not so deep that okay, they'll sell and buy. And number one. Number two, in India, the 6% stamp duty has to be paid. The REIT, I mean, somebody has to pay that
Yes.
stamp duty.
REITs have to pay
So
that.
the stamp duty makes that entire market very, very
Illiquid.
illiquid.
Yeah.
So that they will not pay because that's the cost.
I tell you what's the job of a fund manager here.
Yeah.
The job of fund manager here is this. He needs to see which are the upcoming areas where the lot of commercial demand will come into the place.
Mhm.
That's why I'm paying money to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
He
they're
is-
estimating future.
He
demand.
estimating the forecasting is one of the key parameters for a fund manager. In my case, as an advisor, I will see whether my fund manager has a good forecasting skills or not. For example, Bangalore market is saturated market.
Right.
We are no more properties coming up. Oh, but maybe Indore is a new IT hub. Maybe I should sell some of my properties in Bangalore and reinvest in Indore. I know it's not as easy as like buying a share or sell in a year, but at least he should have the forecasting skills to do that. That's what I'm paying money to him.
Right.
So that's how I evaluate my fund manager.
So there's Aruna Reddy of Chennai. I'm impressed that people are responding to your conversations. Aruna Reddy of Chennai says, I have not invested before in any real estate asset. What real estate fundamentals should I consider before investing?
REITs, if you're looking at the REITs, okay, the best thing you can do is that you see what are the holdings of the REITs are, which location they have invested. See, understand, when you're investing in any finance, we spend hours in selecting a phone or hours in selecting a car or something. Here yours is hard-earned money. I recommend either hire a good financial planner, SEBI registered investor advisor, or if you're a do-yourself investor, look at the you look at the land holdings of the REITs, where they have invested, how much their rentals they're having. So they give you 3 years record. Like even in even in embassy also, they have it. 3 months ago they have launched, but they have given their historical data for past 3 years.
Yes. And any REITs has to do that.
They have to.
And study the 3-year investment
Yes.
pattern, the returns, so that you can also understand what your fund manager is doing.
So if you've invested this year, it doesn't mean that you will not give me a record for past 3 years. I want to see your
Almost
historical returns.
uniform. Basically, look, the REITs is going to invest in the commercial market,
Yes.
okay, commercial offices. Not now. If there are 10 types of the REITs, then you will have to understand that okay, commercial real estate is giving you a return of 8%, 9%. The student housing say is giving you 15%. Industrial REITs is giving you 6% kind of a return or 8% kind of a return. So that you'll have to find out that where I should invest. But in the commercial real estate, normally in India, in past 15-20 years, it has been seen that return is somewhere around 7-8% to 12%. So this is the range. So
At the best times, it has been around 12%.
12%.
I'll give you a very interesting.
So normally, if you are investing in that market, if you want to invest in the commercial, because today you can invest only in the commercial estate. So you can,
And that also office property.
and that to A grade office
A-grade
property,
office
SEBI
properties.
regulated office property. So the risk is not that high, but ultimately one thing is there that when you are investing in REIT, you can just think of that okay. Here, this is the building in which I have invested, and if that building is earning that kind of a return, you will get a pie of that,
Right.
that kind of return. So, I don't think that there is, I mean, so much of the risk or so much of that. If he wants to, she or he wants to invest in real estate with 50,000 rupees, one can think of and invest 50,000, 1 lakh of rupees. Don't invest 1 crore rupees.
Yes. It's an evolving
It's
market.
an evolving product.
So
And it's
small
an
investment.
evolving product. It's a market that we are all getting our heads around. In fact, the fund managers, when embassy REITs came, even today a lot of fund managers are getting their heads around this entire system of investment. So the best thing to do is go slow. Don't put all your eggs into the REIT basket. Go slow. See what kind of returns you're getting. The reason why we do these shows is that if you have queries and if you're interested enough in it, you should understand. But as an investor, don't leap in before you understand the market.
I'll give you a very interesting example
Yeah.
because I track international markets also.
Yeah.
Around 8 to 9 years back, retail REITs in US, they were going down because of Amazon and online stuff which was going on. A lot of malls,
Yeah.
they were having a vacancy risk. And Obamacare, when Obama was a US president, because of the Obamacare, there were a lot of hospital beds which were filling up.
Yeah.
So a tactical investor during that time, when I used to, when I used to recommend people there, they tactically moved from retail REITs to hospital care REITs.
Right.
because the rentals were much more secure there because of Obamacare.
Yeah.
A lot of hospital beds were getting filled because of the cost of medical was going down. In
So
international
the returns would be
returns, so they can protect that. That's how we toggle in equity markets also.
Yeah.
Like my, for example, large cap is not performing. My mid cap is down, so I take out my money from large cap to mid caps.
Yeah.
Future in India, this will happen.
Okay. There is Navjot Singh, three queries from Punjab. Navjot Singh says, is it Delhi or Punjab which is a good investment market for real estate? Here, please understand that today we're discussing REITs. REITs is a product where the fund manager invests the funds and it is managed by a specific, like you have Blackstone, which owns the properties and manages them. Similarly, I don't think it's a question of Delhi or Punjab.
Yeah.
It's a question of where does the fund manager see the
Yes.
best returns. And can you trust here, the question that we were discussing was, can you trust your fund managers to be able to estimate what gives you better returns?
Yeah.
And therefore,
Yes.
That is the most important.
That's
the most important
Like
thing.
today, like the same kind of a property in Gurgaon and in Noida. In Gurgaon, that property might give you an yield, I mean, in this rental yield of say 150 rupees per square feet. But similar property in Noida will give you at the most 50 rupees or 60 rupees a square feet.
Yes.
Now, so the valuation will also be different.
yes.
Now,
It's a question of how much the fund manager invested in Gurgaon or in Noida for similar office
then the
properties.
price
Yeah.
in Gurgaon will be 15,000 rupees per square feet, and Noida it will be 7,000 to 6,000
Exactly.
rupees a square
See,
feet.
as coming back to the question, it is when he is giving money to REITs, it is not his job to think where he is investing.
Yeah.
Because you're giving money to the fund manager, it is a fund manager's job to do that.
And
Because he is
REIT-
charging money from you.
And read where the fund manager has
Yes.
invested. Be a wise investor, please read. But you don't need to bother about whether it was invested in Delhi or
That
in
is fund
Punjab.
manager headache.
That's
and,
a fund
and
manager.
also to gain the trust from the fund manager, look at the historical performance of fund manager for last 3 years, how well he is doing.
Right.
Yeah, but here I should point out one thing, that now suppose today the real estate price, I'm giving a hypothetical situation which is real right now in this case, in Noida, is say around 7,000 rupees square feet is the commercial property rate, okay, and rental is 70 rupees or 80 rupees or 60 rupees per square feet. But today the demand is not that much because it is not like the Gurgaon close to airport and all
Yeah.
that. But in near future airport is likely to come. Now the metro connectivity is also going to improve. So there is a chances, and DMIC hub is going to start from the greater Noida. So lot of connectivity and everything is coming up in this side also.
And good prospects,
And good
future
prospects are also. This certainly the rental is going to go up.
Yeah.
As the rental will go up, the commercial price will go up.
Yeah.
Now, if a REIT today, suppose somebody says that, okay, I am now want to create a REIT for the Noida property
Yeah.
and investing in Noida property. Now, an investor can take a chance that, ki, boss, should this REIT will give me higher yield than the Gurgaon REIT, but for that he has to discern the market properly and try to understand the market, and then here the knowledge of the real estate will pay him extra.
Which
As-
REIT, when you have more REITs in the market,
Yeah.
then
And the
your
more
choice
market,
of REITs.
more geographical regions will
Yes.
come up for the.
So I tell you one thing, right now in mutual fund, what is happening? Mutual fund, there are like thousands of schemes, but a lot of agencies, advisories, and all that, they rate it 5-star fund, 4-star fund, 3. On what basis they do that? Like how well they have performed in comparison to benchmark, how well they comparison with their peers.
Yeah.
That's how we come to the performance of that. Right now, we only have one embassy, so we don't have any competition for that. But yes, as market get developed, we have more REITs, more developers. Then maybe the government can also come up with a central index.
Yeah.
Then it will develop like mutual fund only.
Right. There's Mehul Singh of Chandigarh who says, what are the tax liabilities if someone invests in REITs?
So tax liability is simple, as I discussed previously also. If you're getting a dividend from REITs, which you normally will get, because international market mostly you get dividends only. So dividend is tax free till 10 lakhs. So no tax liability.
There's a query from an NRI. Should an NRI invest in Indian properties as investment?
Yes. Why not?
An NRI buying in India is exactly the same as a domestic
Yeah.
Indian buying in India.
Yeah.
There are no specific rules that guide their investments. You just have to understand the same principles dominate. Can you understand the asset that you're investing in? And if you don't, Do you know where to raise your queries and get them
If
answered?
the question is to invest in REITs, then NRI can also open a demat account and I can invest in REITs in Indian market. They can do that.
Sure.
Just like Indian investors can do that in US markets.
There's Nitin Rajput who says, should I wait for another REIT or should I go for embassy REITs? Currently, there is only embassy REITs.
Yeah.
And the next REIT, there are a lot of
Lot of developers are in pipeline, but they are not evaluated right now.
Yes.
Government is still taking the call.
Right. Unless and it's a complicated issue. They have to get enough, as much as 75%, 80%
80%.
Of performing assets
Yes.
of A grade quality, and they should be able to prove to the government that this is the kind of returns
And
that
minimum
they
net
can,
worth of 500 crores also.
minimum net
We don't
worth
want
of
any.
But one thing, government is not responsible for your investment.
Yes.
For your return.
Yeah.
If your investment goes haywire, I mean, government
Yeah,
will
yeah,
not
yes.
go and secure it for you.
Yes,
So
and
that is for
therefore
sure.
the government only does a due diligence
Yeah.
when it is being given a REIT
Application that
yeah,
the
when it's
hanky-panky is not
assessing
happening.
a REIT application.
Yeah.
After that, how the REIT performs is completely dependent on market.
Government job is only that whether you're following my regulation or not.
Yes.
That is only, government is a watchdog.
Yes.
It's just following the regulation or not. Then again it depends on REIT's performance. Government has no liability on that.
Kanika Mathur of Ahmedabad says, how can we find a good fund manager who can advise us on best REIT products and also keep us informed in case it is not performing well in a certain market
So
scenario?
for that you hire a SEBI RI.
Yeah.
SEBI RI is a people who does all that. SEBI RI.
Your real estate investment advisors, and what Gursimran says is that people like him are registered with SEBI,
Yes.
so there is a stamp that comes
Yes.
with it. But your investment advisors, it's not your real estate, but your investment advisors should be versatile enough
Yes.
to understand the various products.
You need to
Because-
interview your advisor before getting into engagement. I recommend all your audience to first interview him, how well he knows his game. Then only you go with it.
Because actually what we are saying is that if you determine how much money you want to invest, monthly,
Yes.
quarterly, half
Yes.
yearly, yearly, you decide how much money you want to invest. Out of that, you have to then say, what is the risk I'm
Right.
willing to take?
That is what your advisor will
Yes,
assess.
and the advisor will be able to assess that if your risk profile, he risk profiles you and says that if you want to have regular income, these are the products that
Right,
you have.
right.
If you want to have future leverage growth, these are the products you should have, and what is the ratio of various products in your portfolio.
Right.
A good fund manager always manages your portfolio in such a fashion that you get the best returns out
Right.
of your total
Right.
investments.
Right.
So if one underperforms, another overperforms, and it balances itself out.
Yeah, that's what a job is.
That's what the fund manager's job is. There is, I think a few people are liking the session. Nikhil Nair, thank you, finds it very informative. Mehul Tekchandani says it's an amazing session on REITs. There's Ravi Divakar who says, what are my options to invest in REITs now? Which products I can currently choose and invest in? How much money is required to make the first investment? Please suggest. This we have been suggesting this.
Right, 50K.
Very quickly, if you want to
So
answer
right
this.
now you would require a minimum investment of 50,000 to invest in REITs, and you need to have a demat account for investing in REITs. And right now we only have one product, which is investing in REITs.
And the minimum is 50,000.
50,000.
So if when you buy, when you invest your 50,000, remember the NAV of that day determines how many
Yes, units you get.
get.
Yes.
So previous question was, should I buy today? And what Gursimran told us is that the REITs is at the 52-week high currently. So if you
Highest point.
it's the highest point. So therefore, if you put
No, but
50,000.
one thing also I'll say here, 52-week high, what you are talking about the prices,
Yes.
and NAV is low, but NAV is historical.
Yeah.
Because NAV when the last assessed, it last assessed the price. So that was the NAV is today. Now if suppose those properties prices are really moving up as the speculations are in the market, that the commercial property prices are going up right now. So in that case the NAV should also have moved up. Now the issue is this, that the today's market price and the today's NAV, real NAV, because that is the problem in REITs, that you don't know real time NAV.
Yeah.
NAV is always historical.
Yeah,
So
just like book value in shares.
so now whether the today's NAV, if one thinks that no, boss, NAV also has gone up because the prices are going up, So this price is justified, let him invest.
See, normally what we do in stocks is we calculate price to book earning.
Yeah.
There's a metric in
Yes.
stocks, price to book earning. Like if the book value of share is 100, what is the book value? My assets, my employees, cash in hand total is 100 rupees.
Yeah.
Market price based on that can be 120, 140. The more high it is, the more expensive it is. So as sir rightly said, when the disclosure will happen, like for example, right now we don't know what is the NAV.
Yeah.
Because last they have disclosed NAV was 3 months back.
Yeah.
And
Now-
another 3 months before they disclose
Yeah.
the NAV
Yeah.
again.
Right.
Now today at 362 or 363.
I don't know whether 360 is expensive or low, but
Yes.
they will. I will only come to know when they will disclose the NAV to me.
NAV tomorrow.
Then I can say that.
The limited point he's making is that it has be ranged from 300 to 363
In last 3 months.
in the last 3
Yeah.
months, and it has been going up
Constantly
and coming
going
down.
Constantly going up, yeah. As this is a graph,
Yeah.
like it's beating Nifty, like thrashing Nifty.
So there's Shatakshi Panwar who says it's an informative session. There's Namkor Mastana who says can an NRI invest in India? We answered that question. You can have a demat account and you can invest. Nikhil Nair says what can we expect in REITs in the future? Many more REITs, right?
For example, Embassy Group. Just now there was a news last week that they are taking India Bulls commercial properties. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
so they are taking over that.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was listening to the senior guy from DLF. They are also looking into. See, understand. REITs is not only good for investor, it is good for developers also
Yes,
because
absolutely.
it gives them the exit.
Yes.
So whatever the money which I have invested in REITs, I also need the rotation.
Yes.
So REITs give me a chance, like just like in IPO, when I invest my money, the investors IPOs is only an exit for venture capitals,
Yeah.
for private equity funds. When the company get listed,
Yeah.
just like when my properties get listed, it's an exit for me.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful product for developers also.
A lot of developers, if you've noticed in the last 2 years, especially the ones who had taken a lot of debt, they have been liquidating their assets and clearing debts so that they remain leaner and meaner. Now, when REITs are there and if the quality of the assets is good, there is a distinct possibility that the REITs will pick up these properties
Yes.
and the developer gets those funds to actually get on with the business and not just manage the
I tell you one thing, just like there is a index fund called CPSC in which all the government Navratnas are there.
Yeah.
So who knows, maybe future government, they consolidate all their centralized and state properties, the rentals which you are getting, all these bhavans and all that,
Right.
and they can put in a REIT and market it
Right.
and REIT, you never know.
and your money will help them manage the
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
There is Amitesh Kumar of Delhi who says, how do you choose REITs? What is the benchmark? Are all REITs launched in India going to give good returns or what?
Billion dollar question.
This is like saying, does the stock market always give you
Yeah,
best
yeah, yeah,
returns?
yeah.
No, nobody has a crystal ball and nobody can gaze into it and say that any investment of yours is going to give you the best returns.
See, right now the markets are very complicated for past 10-15 years. You can, if you say that this product will help me out for next 10 years, 15 years, those days are over now. We need to evaluate that. This is like what we tell to all the clients also. Always evaluate your portfolio on an annual basis, how well this is performing. It's not a open and shut case. It's just you've invested and then forget about it. You need to constantly looking at your portfolio. The days of 12% FDs and those days are gone now.
Right.
So it's a very complicated market. So no one can guess next 3 years, 4 years what will happen.
There is Rose Magdi who says, as a foreigner, can I invest in REITs
Yes.
with my international bank account?
Yes. So you need to open a demat account and you can invest in REITs. That's not NRE, NRO accounts which are there for NRIs. You can do that.
No, I think she's a foreigner. She's not an NRI.
So she can open. She has to open. There's certain paperwork she has to go through that. For which country actually you can?
She hasn't.
So it's different. For US it's different. For Europe it's different. So it's I cannot answer, like I need to understand which country. Like if it's US, then it's a FATCA, FATCA. US, European country we don't have FATCA. So depends on the country.
Right. That's where we're going to conclude today's session. We believe that there is a lot of interest in REITs. As investors, as potential investors, you're trying to assess whether REITs is a good investment product. We will be coming back to you whenever there is a bank of questions that we receive. Keep those questions coming right into us at editor@magicbricks.com, and we'd be happy to keep taking your queries. We asked you, we had run a poll during this session. Where would you like to invest? Commercial property or REITs? 88% has said that they would like to
Wow.
invest in
Wow.
REITs, and 13% said in commercial property. That tells you why we picked up this topic for This Week in Property. Thank you for watching. I'm Jayashree Kurup. This is Prabhakar Sinha and Gursimran Singh.
Thank you.